regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Directors of Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District for Thursday, January 11, 2024 to order. At this point, we'd like to do a roll call.
Director Sailors,
Here.
Director Weber,
Here.
Director Gould,
Present.
Director Wood,
Present.
Director Rice,
Here.
Director Costa,
Here.
Director Clark.
Present.
And for the record, Director Jones and Director Sheets are absent this evening.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's go ahead and do a pledge to the flag. My colleague, Director Rice would lead us.
Ready, begin?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Director Rice. Our obligatory Metro cable announcement is the following. This meeting of Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T UVerse cable systems, period. This meeting is also webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays at 2 o'clock on Saturday, January 13th, 2024, and again at 6 p.m. on Monday, January 15th, 2024 on Channel 14. This meeting can also be viewed at youtube.com/MetroCable14, period. Hopefully we don't have to do that every single time. We can just say, see the agenda. All right, now we'll move on to public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within the district's jurisdiction of items on or not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Do we have any speakers in the room tonight? And I'd like to ask Art to check online to see if we have any speakers.
Attendees online, if there is anything you'd like to present to the board, please raise your hand. I'll give the opportunity to speak.
Yes, I would like to. This is, Art, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, this is John Lavra, General Counsel. Just like to let the board know that I'm here on the Zoom meeting. I am homesick with the flu this week, but wanted to let you know I'm here for the general meeting, and we'll be following up with you in closed session in a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And if we have any questions of John, I think he can two-way communication through Zoom. So thank you very much for that. We'll move on to consent items. We have one item on consent. It's a resolution for Mr. Terry Barnes. And if I could, Cindy, if you would go ahead and just maybe give us a little bit of background of exactly what we're doing in this consent item.
So this particular resolution is for Mr. Terry Barnes, who has been a reserve for 47 years out there in the Rio Linda, Alberta area. He has driven Old Betsy in our community in every parade. He's been at every community affair, and he has taught many of our reserves that have later come on as full-fledged firefighters. He is a man of a few years now and has retired. And so I thought it would be a great idea to honor him with this resolution. And on Saturday at 1 o'clock at Station 116, we will be picking him up at his house and taking him to 116 and dedicating Old Betsy to him and giving him this resolution. And everyone is welcome to come out to 116 at 1 o'clock Saturday in Alberta. Thank you.
Thank you. I know that we all received an email relative to that fact, and we are deeply appreciative of that. 47 years is quite an honor, and we wish him and his family the best. And thank you very much for, I think, taking the lead in this initiative. So thanks for that. All of my colleagues, if you make sure that tonight, before you leave, you have a chance to sign that resolution. If you haven't, I think there's 2 copies, right? Cindy, we got
Yeah.
2 copies going around. Anyway, are any questions about that or comments? Director Wood.
Is that rain or shine on Saturday?
Rain or shine.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Any other questions for that particular consent item? All right, let's move now on to presentation items.
We
Um,
do,
we-
we do need a motion just to
Oh,
adopt that.
you want to do that even
Yeah,
after,
yeah.
with it being on consent? All right, let's call the roll.
I'll make the motion.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
I haven't made a motion.
I thought, okay, Brian, we
Sailors.
got from
I will
Director
second.
Rice and we got a second.
Okay,
Please call the roll.
yes. Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Weber.
Aye.
Director Gould,
Aye.
Director Wood.
Aye.
Director Rice.
Aye.
Director Costa,
Aye.
Director Clark.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. And again, thank you, Director Sailors. That's really nice of you to do. We'll move on to presentation items. We have an interesting title for this one is Year-End Review of Completed Policies in 2023 and What's Coming. Nice lead in. Director Maddox, go.
Fire. The reason it says 2023 is because I presented this presentation to Policy Committee last year. And Director Costa asked me if I would come back this year and present it to the full board. So to jump right in, first, again, I'd like to thank Director Costa for meeting with me and HR Analyst Leslie Miller maybe a couple months ago now, just to offer assistance to us in our policy process. We have a lot of policies and we want to, make policy committee, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm getting stuck. Fruitful and go through as many policies through the year that we can, so we don't have any gaps in meeting, and bring as many board policies to you all. So, your time is valuable too. So we'll move from there. Meeting with Director Costa was very helpful. I got a lot of feedback and assistance. You obviously have a lot of experience in dealing with policies, so we're more than happy to accept the help with that. So, first of all, I just want to start with kind of the background on policies and policy committee. Going back to 2011 is when the then Deputy Chief of Admin came to the board and said, here's a list of all our policies. Which ones do you want to be board policies? Which ones do you want to be admin policies? And the rest can be, general or specific to a different division or each division. And that kind of decision was made. Not that it can't be changed, it can always be changed. But that's just the guidelines that we've been working off of all these years. So going back to 2011, like I said, that was kind of decided. So certain policies came to policy committee, which were the admin policies that didn't necessarily need to be bumped up to full board. And then some policies that were board policies would go to admin or policy committee and then move up to full board for approval. Additionally, during those meetings back in 2011, we decided to move job descriptions out of an administrative type policy. So anytime we made a change to the job description, we didn't have to wait to finalize it by bringing it back to the board and wait. That tended to delay our recruitment process because we can't really send out a recruitment until we have an updated job description. So then the board said, okay, let's move job descriptions out of admin policies altogether, make them job descriptions, as long as we use a particular template. And that's the same template that we use today. It's had a little tweaks here and there, but the template being not necessarily so important of what's on the template, it's just it being, because we can change it, it's just being consistent. We want all of our policies to look consistent and be legally, valid and all that, but we can change that too. But that's the template we've been working off of. And as long as we agreed to use that template, then we can make changes to job descriptions as we need to. The only caveat to that is if it's a represented position, we do work with 522 to make sure that they're okay with the changes. If it's a represented position and they sign off on it, we have a tracking sheet that we go through that has certain sign-offs. If it's a division manager, let's just say it's a logistics position, a logistics tech, we want to make sure the logistics manager is, usually they're the ones that are going to give us the changes as the manager, make sure they're good with it. Whatever the deputy chief over that division, they sign off on it. And then we'll make sure if it's a represented position, 522 signs off on it. So, and then we can move forward on recruitments much faster that way. Again, I just want to reiterate that process is always amendable. We can always switch gears, we can change things however you want. As I explained to Director Costa, we could bring all of the policies to you if you want. I don't know if you want that. Currently, we have about 37 board policies, 119 administrative policies, and about 70 job descriptions total. But last year, when we moved forward with this new policy, I wouldn't say new policy process, but just kind of meeting and making sure that we have a policy for every policy committee is our goal for 2024. I can't promise that's going to be the case because a lot of policies that we do bring to you, some of them are fairly simple. It's just changes for the law. There's changes in law. We notice a typo or that kind of thing. Those are easy, but some policies do require a lot of meet and confer with 522. For example, sick leave policy or drug use, not drug use policy, but any of those really sensitive policies do take a lot of time just to go through the meet and confer process. Not necessarily just that, it's the legal process. We want both attorneys to look at the policy to make sure it's legally sound. So sometimes some policies take longer than others to reach you for final approval. This was just an overview from the presentation that I did last year, last month, technically, of just the policies that we have completed and some policies that we're looking forward to complete this year. I think it was important to highlight the amount of policies that we are completing and revising that don't necessarily come to you. A lot more of them go to a policy committee and don't necessarily need full board approval, but just rest assured there is a lot of work going on in the background on policies that may not rise through the different levels. So as far as 2023 goes, we completed 32 policy revisions, including 13 administrative, 3 board, 3 general, 3 operations, 7 peace officers, and 3 support services policies. And a lot of those revisions, obviously HR can't take all credit for. We work closely with all the division managers. They're really the subject matter experts of that policy, and they give us those changes. And HR just ensures that it's in the proper template. It's consistent format. We're using consistent language. It's legally sound. 522 will go with it. So it does have quite a bit of a process to go through, but Leslie Miller, our HR analyst, she does most of that work on HR's behalf, but a lot of the initial work does come from the division managers. For administrative policies, include the administrative policies that we did bring to policy committee included a password policy, a policy development implementation, reinstatement policy, the reinstatement rehire policy, financial planning and budget policy, and then 8 job descriptions were revised, but those obviously, as I said earlier, didn't necessarily come to policy committee. We just went through our internal process to make sure they were completed and was able to send out a recruitment that was connected to that job description. The board policies that we brought last year were the FMLA policy, the purchasing and contracting policy, and the meal and refreshment policy. I would say with the FMLA policy, you will probably see that one at least every year, if not multiple times a year, because those laws do change every year at least. And a lot of changes in other policies, such as sick leave laws, kind of has a trickle down effect of affecting all the other policies that we already have in place. So while it may seem repetitive a lot of times, and there may be just a small minor change, this one is definitely one of the reoccurring policies that needs updates because of the laws and everything else that affects this policy when those policies are changed. Some policies that we have in process for next year, or for this year, I should say, for 2024. And I just had Art update my presentation because since I submitted this presentation, I had 2 more policies add to the list. So So for right now, we have 23 policies that are currently in process, and they technically were started back towards the end of last year. So they're, like I said, they're still being worked on, so we're counting those as 2024. There's 8 administrative, 10 board, 1 general policy, 2 operations policies, 1 peace officer, and 1 support services. Of the administrative policies that the policy committee will see this year is the sick leave policy, the donated leave policy for represented and unrepresented, the 56-hour alternate position policy, timekeeping policy, job descriptions, the password policy. The last 2, the password policy and the AI policy, are the 2 that were added just between you receiving the board packet and this presentation tonight. So. And those are both IT policies. As far as board policies that will come to the full board, included obviously the FMLA policy. We already have changes to it for this year. The drug and alcohol policy and procedures, EEOC policy, workplace harassment, workplace violence, non-discrimination, non-retaliation, purchasing and contracting policy, standards of coverage policy, and a travel and conference policy. And this is just not a hard, fast list. It's just what we kind of see in the horizon and what we're already currently working on. This, like I said, some of these may take longer than a year to get through. Some of them are more difficult. Some of them are very simple. Some of them, like, for instance, the FMLA policy, it's probably a simple change of something that happened in the law to the amount of hours or something like that. It just depends on the policy and the content. So that's kind of what's out on the horizon for this year. Again, the process that we currently have in place can always be changed. We bring whatever you want us to bring to you as the board or the policy committee. We're more than happy to adjust. And like I said earlier, we really welcomed Director Costa's help and guidance on what we should be bringing to the board. So. Other than that, happy to answer any questions on the policies, any suggestions?
Director Costa, I heard your name several times. Weigh in.
Thank you for taking the time to come tonight. I know the board has discussed a little bit about, board policies versus administrative policies. And when I first asked the question, how many policies do we have? I was blown away. And I mean, you and the staff done an amazing job, and thank you for taking the time to walk me through that. And, initially it was just trying to figure out what's the workload look like for the year for the policy committee, and making sure that we're looking at policies on a regular basis, acting on those policies, and then keeping the board apprised of that. And after we sat down and went through it, we talked about it's important for you to bring that to the policy committee kind of annual review. And then after seeing it, I thought, you got to bring this back to the board, because it was important for you guys to see just all the work that they're doing that, behind the scenes, and then just some of the work that's coming to us to review. So thank you for taking the time. I think this is very important, just to give us a good organizational look at what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And that reminds me of something I forgot to mention because I wasn't reading my notes. That is a great point about what is the difference between an admin policy and a board policy. That's always been my big question. And for those of you that were at the Brown Act training last year, I had asked that question to, and they were attorneys, and I've still have never got a black and white answer, and there is no black and white answer, of course. I did talk to General Counsel Lavra, and he kind of gave me his thought process on it, with the caveat that it's in your discretion to bring all policies to the board if you want to. But in general, and I think this goes back to the direction back in 2011, was that basically a board policy, and this is a quote from Counsel Lavra, I hope you feel better. A board policy is a larger policy statement on certain subjects that cover all employees on matters over which the board wants to set the basic rules. A policy that they don't want to leave to the discretion of management. An admin policy is a policy which controls the specifics of day-to-day operations, which the board normally would not want control over, and which they want to leave to the discretion of management. So for an example, a board policy would be all employees who work more than 40 hours a week shall receive overtime. Versus an admin policy would be for all the employees who are working overtime, here are the guidelines for you to work overtime. Either you need to have it, approved prior, it needs to be 48 hours prior, it needs to have an explanation of what the overtime, that kind of thing, more of the procedural type things. So I thought that was a pretty good example. And again, it's kind of not a black and white answer, it's kind of in the gray. And so when we do have new policies that are brand new, that we are kind of in that gray area, we plan on bringing them to policy committee and getting your input and your direction on whether or not you want it to stay an admin policy, be a board policy, or you're good with it being a general policy. So thank you for saying that. I forgot to mention that.
All right, any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Maddox.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
now
you.
move on to let's move on to action items for adopt the resolution pre-qualified shortlist, design, build entities. Ms. Castleberry, you're up. Good evening.
Good evening, board. Thank you for having me tonight. I am here with a request to approve the establishment of a pre-qualified shortlist of design build entities in preparation for the next phase of our Zinfandel Phase 3 build out. So as you recall, this board previously adopted a resolution by which the district would use a best value procurement in a design build project delivery method for the Zinfandel Phase 3 project. And public contract code outlines how that process needs to happen. So it's a two-step process. First, there is a pre-qualification process and a shortlisting process. And then those that are successfully added to the shortlist are then the ones eligible and invited to actually submit proposals for the completion of the project. So that is where we're at right now. We did receive 6 total statement of qualifications. And after a thorough review and evaluation and scoring process, that was quite lengthy. We have narrowed it down to 3 design build entities. The number 3 was a recommendation from our consultant, our owner advisor that we have recently contracted with, and also is recognized as a best practice by the Design Build Institute of America. That is because in this proposal process, moving forward, what we'll be asking the proposers for is actually a schematic level design. So we'll be receiving schematic level designs that we will get to evaluate and choose from on which one will best meet our needs. So with that in mind, it's a lot of work to review that and go through all the technical requirements, all of the proprietary meetings with those proposers. And 3 seems to be the number that is a manageable number for the evaluators and also a manageable number given the workload that it takes. The more people you have proposing, the less chance someone is of being successful. So if you want to have a really good proposal out there and the work put in by a design build entity, it's better to have a smaller group where they have a larger chance of being successful. So that is where we're at. Once this list is approved by you, we'll be moving to our RFP process. It is our intent to release that RFP early next month. And then that will begin the proposal and evaluation process there. I think in April is when we're targeted to have those proposals due. There will be several steps of that process that we'll keep you apprised of. And ultimately, our intent would be to bring a design build contract for your approval in early June. So with that, I'll take any questions you have. Otherwise, we would request that you approve the establishment of this shortlist.
Any questions for Ms. Castleberry on this action item? Ms. Castleberry, I have one question. In the review of this materials that was provided to us, I could not see, or I did not read where these 3 proposed folks are from. What's their home base? Do we have somebody from Canada or Rio Linda, or where are they from? Because I think one of the things this board's been attentive to in the past is when we're releasing something of this magnitude, and it is a big deal, that we try our best to find a regional provider,
Mhm.
you know, that it goes back into our area. So I don't know if that happened, if it was considered, but I just couldn't see where these folks are from.
I know for sure two of them are local. Jeff, do you know about, I know Roblin is local and DD Construction is local. Do you know about Swinnerton?
Sorry, say that again? Swinnerton's here.
Okay.
Sacramento.
And they're all
Roblin is Folsom. The third firm is,
DD.
actually here.
They're
local
local
too.
as well, yeah.
So all three. Okay, so I just think I know we've kind of gotten a bit away from that piece, but I think we need to kind of maybe re-look at that issue of when we do all these wonderful machinations to expedite the process and evaluate through matrix. I think that's all great. One of the things I know we were sensitive to was where are these folks coming from? Is the money going back into our local community? If we have reasonable, you know, folks that meet all the criteria. I'm not trying to say they get a significant leg up, but I think we need to be sensitive to that we're not hiring folks from LA if we have people that are qualified to do the work here in Sacramento County. So
We understand the intent. We know how to factor that in.
yeah. Okay. I didn't see it, so I was curious.
Yep, okay.
All right. Any other questions for Ms. Castleberry on
No,
this action item?
I just want to mention congratulations. Those are good general contractors.
Yes.
Well,
We're happy.
yes.
We had
I
excellent proposals and it was hard narrowing it down, so.
I know who they
We
are.
felt
They're
very
really good general contractors, so.
That's
good job.
excellent to hear. All right. Any other questions? All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
We need a motion.
Somebody
and
make a
sec-
motion.
Yeah.
Make that motion.
Yeah,
Second.
Second.
good. First and a second? We got that?
Director Sailors,
Aye.
Director Weber, Gould,
Aye.
Director Wood,
Aye.
Director Rice, Director Costa,
Aye.
Director Clark.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to reports. I have no report this evening, except for the fact that did have a really wonderful gathering this afternoon before the board meeting of individuals that are experts in our workers' comp area. And it's just an initial gathering where, one, they educated or tried to educate me, which I know can be a pretty significant challenge. But it's really an attempt to keep this ball rolling, and we will get back to this larger body as we get more meat on the bones to that. But I'm really excited to hear from our internal experts and the people that deal with this issue every day. They're extremely excited about some of the recent changes that this organization has made. So I think it's important for the men and women to know in our organization, whether in the field or in the office, that we really are taking this seriously, and people are doing some incredible work to change the landscape of how this particular issue is being resolved. And so we will give you constant updates if we can as we move forward in that issue. That completes my report. Chief, turn it over to you for your report this evening.
Thank you, President Gold, and directors, colleagues, members of the public. Good evening and Happy New Year, since this is the first board meeting. I look forward to a great 2024. I couldn't be more proud to sit up here. I can't believe it's already been a little over 6 months. And you led in right into what I hear, if not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, quite frequently from outside agencies, other fire departments, members going through events. Is I could not be more proud of the men and women that work here. They are great. They do great things and they truly care. It was represented in that meeting today. So this is a great organization. I can assure you as a fire chief, we are healthy, very healthy. One of the best things I can do as a fire chief is promote people. So we're going to start off with some promotions here. And I would like to invite up Mike Sloan to the podium, please. And a big congratulations to Mike Sloan. A big congratulations to Mike Sloan, who was appointed to battalion chief on January 2nd, 2024. He's battalion 9 on the C shift. And Mike's going to give you a little bit of his history and who he is. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's been a great honor to get promoted in that position, and I look forward to it. My family's been around the fire service for 4 generations. My great-grandparents were both officers in Oakland and Berkeley. My grandfather was the fire chief of Oakland in the 50s and 60s. My father was a battalion chief. I had an uncle who was another chief, and just throughout the areas. And then I got 3 brothers that are 2 are working in Oakland and 1 here in Sac Metro. So the fire service has been really a great great source for all of us to stay involved with the community and to be involved with the different great people that we work with. And so I'm very fortunate. I got a great wife that's very supportive of me, and I got identical twins that are very young, and so that keeps me going. I did most of my career. I worked actually with Chief Rice and Bob Weber at Station 21, and it was a great time. Learned a lot, and it's been a great ride so far, and I look forward to it going forward.
Thank you, Mike, and congratulations again. All right, and another one. Congratulations to Daniel Weld, who was promoted to captain effective January 7th, 2024.
Thank you, Chief. Hi, I'm Daniel Weld. I've been working here for 9 years now. I'm actually a proponent or a initial starter of the single role program, which we now call the Metro Medic program. So I started as a EMT, which is our lowest rank in the line personnel, and have now risen to the rank of captain. So I'm a big proponent of that. It works. So anything we can do to keep pushing that program, I'm a big fan of it. Just had we have a 3-month-old kid.
Wait a minute, your wife had a 3-month-old kid?
Yeah,
You didn't do,
it was
did very
collective.
little.
I was supportive during that.
Oh, there you
process.
go.
Yes, sweating, trying not to faint the whole time. So when I decided to take the captain's test, 3 days later, we found out that we were pregnant. So a huge part of my success is my wife supporting me through that process, because that was a critical time and giving me the grace to step away when she did need me in the beginning to study and work hard. I can owe my success to many people at 21. Worked with Chief Sloan there for a while on an opposite shift, and very thankful that I had the crews with me there to guide me through the process. So thank you. Very excited to drive the culture of Metro Fire and keep taking us into the future. I'm very excited for the next 5 to 10 years that this the Metro Fire is going. So thank you.
Congratulations, Captain Weld.
Congratulations.
Big congratulations to Mike Johnson, who was appointed to Assistant Chief, Shift Commander on C Shift, effective January 3rd. Mike could not be here tonight, but I'll get him here another night for you. Congratulations to Tom Colshoni, who was appointed to Battalion Chief, Battalion 5 C Shift, effective January 14th, 2024. He could not be here also tonight. Congratulations to Adam Swartz, who was promoted to Captain, effective January 14th, 2024. His pinning was today, and I know he's here, so I welcome you up to the podium, sir.
Thank you, Chief House. Hi, my name is Adam Schwartz. I started my career here 17 years ago. I started working in South Sacramento, and I worked there for almost 8 years straight. And around 2010, I met Josh Anderson, who's been my captain since, oh gosh, 2013. Almost? No. Yeah, about 2013. So we've been working together for almost 11 years, 10 years, something like that. I don't know. It just all blends together. And then Jake Kuntz, who's a firefighter, we started working together when I got promoted to engineer in 2014. So it's been almost 10 years we've been working together as well. So I'm very excited to be in this new position, new role. I'm going to be working at Station 24 on C Shift. And I look forward to the way the department's going, the direction we're heading. I just want to be a part of it and do the best I can in shaping up our crews and providing a good service for the public. So, thank you.
Congratulations, Adam. And congratulations to Katie Trimble, who's promoted to Captain, effective January 14th. Great way to start the year with a lot of good promotions, great quality people who will be effective leaders for this organization. So congratulations to all you again. Sure. We have an open recruitment for the Metro Medic Program 24-1 class for drill instructors. HR is accepting letters of interest and resumes until Wednesday, January 24th. This is for non-probationary captains, engineers, firefighter, paramedics, and paramedics for that position. Some retirements that we had. Congratulations to Assistant Chief Charlie Jenkins on his retirement. Chief Jenkins retired December 31st after 32 years of great service. And congratulations to Captain Jeff Taylor on his retirement. Captain Taylor retired December 31st after 29 years of great service. So congratulations to both of them. You heard about earlier the dedication to Terry Barnes. I just want to have a reminder for everybody's calendar. That's a significant event, 47 years of excellent service dedication to not only our agency, but to the public. And he exemplifies leadership, care, and compassion. Station 116 will be hosting that celebration. It's for Terry Barnes on Saturday, January 13th at 1 p.m. On Saturday, January 6th, Station 26 hosted a very fruitful open house. And thank you, Director Wood, for attending. We also had the Nexter High School coach there and the whole football team that wore plastic fire helmets and brought their parents over. The outcome of that open house was not only successful from just an open house component, but the football team is going to start doing their pre-football meals there again at that station and hosted, I think those are always Friday nights. But that is another example of ripping off that COVID Band-Aid that we're suffering from. So with a heavy heart that I have to announce two people that passed away. Retired Captain and Board of Director Greg Valley passed away on December 6th. Greg was a member of Florin Fire District and retired as a captain. After retirement, he became a member of the Board of Directors here for us. And Assistant Chief Melvin D. Johnson passed away on December 17th. Melvin retired from Rancho Cordova Fire in 1992 as an assistant chief. And at the end of the meeting, I'd ask for a moment of silence, President Gould. And we will have further details coming out on the announcement of their celebration of life and the events that will take place for both of them. We don't have any of those details as of yet. And unless you have any questions for me, once again, I am humbled and super excited and proud to be in this seat, and the amount of trust, not only from you as the board, but from all of our members. And we truly are a great organization, great organization. That's the end of my report. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Let's move on to operations report. Chief Mitchell. Oh, hold on. Okay. All right, Chief, hold still. You're getting ready for a question.
It's a softball.
I wouldn't expect any different from Director Redwood.
Going into the new year, I would ask that in the very near future meeting, if we could get an update on the service delivery phase 2 and 3, where we are on that, and where we're heading, projections, dates, that sort of thing, what you and your senior wizards are thinking. So I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I can update you on that. We just met on that, executive staff and operations, I believe by the first board meeting of February, we'll have a report back to you and what that direction looks like. And we've been working once again, collaborative efforts with 522. And I think Sean will agree with that as he gives his presentation. So.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Chief Mitchell, you're up.
All right. Thank you, President Gould. Happy New Year, everybody. Good evening, Board of Directors, Chief House, colleagues, members of the public. Adam Mitchell, Operations Chief. I'm going to continue the prideful speech tonight and just say a few words before I bring up Chief Barthel. You can start making your way up here to the podium, please. Tonight, we're going to do our first of a regular occurrence of a shift commander spotlight, make this a little bit more formalized.
Okay.
Chief Barthel is normally Battalion 9. Today, he, in Chief Farika's absence, who's off ill, is working as out-of-class shift commander, AC 24, covering the district. So for our first shift commander highlight, I bring up Chief Barthel.
Good evening, Board Directors. My name is Brian Barthel. As you know, our members do great things every single day. And tonight, what I want to do is highlight event that occurred in Battalion 9 with Engine 50 and Medic 50. On on December 23rd of 2023 at 7:30 in the morning, Engine 50 and Medic 50 were dispatched to 8925 Vintage Park Drive. When Engine 50 and Medic 50 arrived at the Latter-day Saint Church on Vintage Park, they found a 61-year-old male who was unresponsive, and bystanders were performing CPR. And the patient was playing basketball at the time, with about 40 other men, and collapsed. About an hour after that incident, I was at Starbucks as I became aware of it. A gentleman walked in, a citizen walked in, came up to me, gave me a fist pump and said, "Hey, you guys are really quick. Thank you so much for your quick response." I'm like, "Okay," and he fist pumps me again. And he goes, "I couldn't believe how quick you guys were and you're so professional on scene, blah, blah, blah." And I go, "Oh, thank you. I'll pass that on." And I kind of didn't know I was in 51's area off Calvine and Power Inn at Starbucks getting a coffee. And so I was like, I don't know where he's talking about. So I go, "Hey, where was the incident at?" And he said, "Vintage Park." Well, I remember hearing that get dispatched at 7:30 in the morning. So when I got back to my office, I walked over there to let the crew know, share the information. I got to them. And at that time, they shared the information with me of what happened. So I think it would be really important for you guys to hear from the crew of exactly what they did, because that patient left the hospital with no long-term deficits and made a full recovery. So I'd like to have Captain Gusinoff, Engineer Shakler, Firefighter Diab, Firefighter Davis, and Firefighter Schwartzman, who was actually the lead medic on that. So I'd like to hear from Captain Gusinoff.
Good evening, board. My name is Mark Gusenov. I'm assigned to Station 50 on A shift. Do we have a translator? If one you can-
Nice work. Just go slow.
The reason we're here today is because here at Metro Fire, we're here for one reason only, is to provide a service. We don't know what the call is gonna be. The expectation is that we're gonna do our best to, to have a good outcome. Unfortunately, not every call has a good outcome. Here today, we want to share an experience with you somewhat in detail. And it's not our success, it's Metro Fire's, because from dispatchers to public, to paramedics, to whoever transported doctors, legitimately, it was a Christmas miracle. And it's really good to be part of that. I am proud to work with my team. In 6 months that I've been a captain, I've learned something, that if incident goes good, it's the team. If incident doesn't go good, it's me. So today we're not here to talk about me, we're here to talk about the team.
That's pretty cool.
Like my captain was saying, it was a team effort. My whole crew was there to support me the whole time, and I think the outcome is a testament to that. When we arrived on scene, the bystanders were doing CPR on this gentleman. They were doing fantastic bystander CPR. When we put him on the monitor, he's in a shockable rhythm. We were able to defibrillate, I believe, within a minute and a half of getting on scene, secure his airway, get him on a backboard, and continuing CPR pretty much instantaneously. And that's, again, with my amazing crew. Everyone knows what to do. I didn't even have to say anything. As lead paramedic, I barely have to direct them. They all know what to do. When we reassessed after 2 minutes of CPR, he was in a perfusing rhythm. We transported, and his condition just got better from there. By the time we got to the hospital, he had a good blood pressure. He was cracking jokes about his only complaint of pain was that he was losing the basketball game. Honestly, I've never experienced anything like that. I truly believe, like I said, it's my whole crew's ability to just jump on the incident, get everything that I needed to get done basically immediately, deliver the defibrillation, and the bystander CPR is the reason why there's such an amazing outcome. So I don't think it's anything that any other crew would have done differently. And I'm just really happy that he's going to be home with his family, no deficits, and can live a normal life, which is amazing. So that's really all I have.
Wow.
How old was the subject? The gentleman?
61.
61, okay.
No, Lucas.
Yes, Lucas is also an amazing teammate. Doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah, did my colleagues all hear that? Dr. Lucas was involved as well. And so we need to be thinking about that because Randy, when we lost Randy, there was a lot of initiative that was put in on Randy's part to get that going. And, frankly, I think it ought to be a standard piece of equipment on all of our rigs, but that's really great. What a wonderful story. Any questions for this illustrious group? I just like to have the captain come back up and keep talking. That's pretty fun.
Me too.
I love that stuff, right? Anything else for this wonderful group? Chief Mitchell, you got something equally as good?
There's nothing that's going to beat that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you're.
For the
you're not helping
operations
yourself.
report, that's what it's all about. They're
Exactly.
doing fantastic work out there.
You good? Chief Mitchell, we're good? Thank you, sir.
I don't think you have any questions.
Yeah, that's all right. I have it in good authority that we have no administrative report this evening. So we'll move on to support services. Chief Wagaman.
Good evening, President Gould, directors, Chief House and staff. Tyler Wagaman, Deputy Chief of Support Services with your support report. Starting off with the facilities, have been doing a lot of work since we last spoke. They just completed all the electrical requirements for the last phase of our access control project at multiple fire stations, specifically 28, 50, 59, 102, 112, 114, 116, and 117. So a big project they've been working on. That's the tail end of it. So those are the outstanding stations. They just overhauled the old lighting at our academy grounds. So they now have new LED lights so they can work until the dark hours with the new academy that just started. I'm sure they will be taking full advantage of the new lighting there. The retrofit project for our apparatus bay lighting is still underway. That has been years in the works, bringing stations up to Title 24 compliance, removing the old incandescent and fluorescent bulbs and moving them to LED. We're about 75% complete. We hope to get that done in the next couple of years. On the fleet front, first off, congratulations to Nick Rhodes and Cody Guinea, 10 years of dedication and service to Metro Fire. Fleet recently held interviews for the rank of fire mechanic. Fleet was ecstatic to find two very solid candidates through that process, and we hope to be employing them in the future. Fire mechanic Andrew Purcell, who is an active duty reservist, was deployed via the U.S. Armed Forces and will likely be deployed until late January. As much as the vacancy does sting the fleet division, that's very much in perspective because we know that he is fighting for our freedom, and there's nothing more important than that. Fleet recently completed putting 6 brand new Ford Type 3 ambulances into service. The feedback so far on all 3 of those new style ambulances has been positive. They just finished 3 brand new fire engines as well. The new Pearson Forcers went into service. That's the last of the 2023 batch. The new power load gurney systems, the gurney separate from the actual power load systems, have all been installed in our ambulances, including the reserve fleet, another daunting project that recently got completed by our fleet division, as well as 2 new ambulances just arrived. These are remount ambulances. As previously mentioned, these are old boxes on new chassis. Saves us about $50,000 per vehicle. So it's been a very successful endeavor for us. We have 1 ambulance that has actually been remounted 3 times. So it is working and it's saving us money. IT just completed their annual inspections of fire and security systems at all of our fire stations and administrative buildings. In our communications division, they just finished completing the installation of all of our communications equipment, both radios and computers, and 2 new ambulances, both those remounts, as well as 1 brand new aerial truck. So truck 23 is going to be getting a new aerial truck here very soon. They're currently working on a brand new water tender that should be completed here shortly. And next on the docket for them is reprogramming all of our 800 megahertz radio system radios, both the mobiles and our portables, over February and March. And a community risk reduction, CRD received, their staff received an appreciation email from Mutual Housing of Sacramento, an affordable housing complex over off of Stockton Boulevard. They were ecstatic at the support that we gave them during that project because there was a mad dash to occupy that building prior to its full completion. So we made sure that as each stage of that project was completed, it was safe to occupy, and we permitted them to do that. Again, they had quite a few people that needed to occupy that facility, and we went out of our way to ensure that they could occupy it before the completion of that project, but of course, when it was safe to do so. Our fire investigation unit just completed their advanced officer training, which is a requirement for any post-peace officer in the state of California. The Sacramento County Fireworks Task Force is already planning and has met for 2024 fireworks season. And lastly, New Year's Eve, there was an uptick in complaints related to fireworks, as you could imagine, but I'm happy to report that Metro Fire did not respond to any fireworks-related calls, and there were no injuries, knock on wood. I would like to take advantage of the opportunity and recognize Chief Barthel this evening since he is here. Station 52, for most of you, should know that it's not an in-service fire station, but we utilize it heavily for live fire training. And because we don't have staff there 24/7, it's a very challenging station to maintain. And usually a couple times a year, we throw an enormous amount of manpower at that station, so it continues to look presentable. And I have to acknowledge Chief Barthel, Battalion 9, all the battalion chiefs there. Chief Barthel really did take the lead in putting together a plan to bring that station back to par, working with not only our own crews, logistics, facilities, Sacramento County Work Project. It was a daunting task. I have to commend him for his efforts on that. And we're still not done. Facilities is going to put a nice coat of paint on it and redo some of the landscaping, so it doesn't require as much effort in the years to come. So with that being said, that concludes my report unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Chief. Director Rice?
Chief Wagaman, and I want to make sure I understood it, and I've seen them on the road. It looks like we're going back to the Ford cabs, and then I'll only say this about the box portion of it, because we don't ride in boxes, we don't ride in buses, we ride in medics. So it looks like we're going back to the Ford style and I was very disheartened when we went to what I call the Sprinter low bid. We don't have low bid employees. Why would we give them low bid equipment? So I commend you for going back to a piece of equipment that certainly is more stout and safer for our members to operate in. And the sooner we can get rid of all those Sprinters, the better. I hope that transition goes smoothly and quickly. And then secondarily, one thing that's always concerned me, and it goes back to Director or Melissa Maddox. I got to use the proper title, Director, HR Manager. On use of force, whether it's less than lethal or lethal, do we have the policies in place and our arson investigators fully protected? Because we all know when that happens, shut your mouth. Don't say anything to anybody until you have representation. And do we follow the same template as a sheriff's office? And will we, God forbid that ever happens, but will we be in a position that our men and women, as well as the public, are protected, and that the process is protected? It's always worried me. Are we in the place that we need to be with that?
So first off, we absolutely follow PBOR in process, right? And we hope to God that nothing ever significant happens with any of our peace officers. You saw before you tonight as a part of the HR presentation was that there was 7 law enforcement policies that were reviewed and approved by you. And that will likely continue. As you know, a use of force and escalation of force is always under scrutiny and changes are always being made. So we're always trying to work diligently to make sure that our peace officers are not only trained to adhere to that policy, but the policy is actually going to protect them as well. So it's a moving target, if you will. But we're going to continue to work on it. And if changes need to be made, we will make the change and make sure that our officers not only meet the policy, but are trained to do so.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Wagaman? Sure sounds like we need to find some work for the support services people. Jeez. Thank you very much for that report. That was great. Let's go to local 522. Vice President Scholar.
Good evening, Board of Directors, President Gould, Chief House, executive staff, colleagues, members of the public. Sean Scollard, Vice President interim still. I get sworn in next week at executive.
I didn't know
board
that,
on
sorry.
Wednesday. So I think every report I've given, I've delayed this time and time again, but it's nice to see my name on the paper. So thank you, Marnie, for that. We don't have to navigate through that process. I'd like to start by saying I hope that everybody had a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year. For me personally, this one was very special for me because I got to spend Christmas at home. My oldest is 10, my youngest is 5, and I added it up, and this was our third Christmas that we got to spend together at home. As many of these folks over here can understand, our job requires us to spend holidays in the firehouse a lot of times. And so it was nice to be at home, but the irony in that is once my kids opened their presents, about 5 minutes later, they asked me, so when do we get to go to the firehouse? Because it's just become a tradition for them. So there was a part of me that missed it. And I know these guys probably had just a wonderful time, those of them that worked on Christmas, but great New Year. There was ups and downs through 2023. Some challenging times and some difficult times with members dealing with catastrophic events and things like that. And so I think it's nice to start off into a new year and hopefully be able to learn the lessons that we learned in 2023 and apply those to similar situations that we may be faced with in 2024. So I look forward to working with Chief House, executive staff, and all of you in any of those processes that may come. Also, congratulations and thank you to Matt Cole. I think that he did a fantastic job in this position for being in it for 2 years. I think he was able to accomplish a lot. With that change comes kind of a restructure. And I know you guys have asked me some short-term and long-term goals. Long-term goals will come and we will sit down together and explore those more. But in the short term, really, I just ask that we let some of the dust settle. We have some rebuilding that we have to do within the local, losing a person in a position like Matt Cole in that VP role and me stepping into it. There's a lot of blind spots that I'm still navigating through and having to identify. And I have to rebuild the team below me. So succession planning is something that I think everybody needs to work on. When the time comes, you realize how poorly of a job we've done in succession planning. And that's something that I plan to change so that the next person that's up here given the report for Local 522 doesn't have as steep of a learning curve. So that's kind of the short term. Hopefully in the next couple months, you'll see more faces. I'd like to get more directors and shift reps up here giving presentations. So it's not the first time. So you have a familiar face to a name so you can really see what our team looks like and the roles and responsibilities of these folks that step up into these positions to represent the body of the membership in Metro and see what they're really doing. And so that's my plan in the next couple months. Really, we have a director's election that's open right now. So somebody that's going to be filling the remainder of my 1-year term that I vacated as a director, that'll be closing here in the next month. And then we'll be having 2 deputy director positions potentially up. So this year is a little unique. We added the ability to have a second deputy director. So there'll be more representation for the membership. The whole thought on that is that our membership's just continuing to grow. We increase the MMP, we see buildings going, new fire stations, and so we're trying to get ahead of it. As Metro Fire doesn't really have boundaries, it seems like. We continue to grow, the more bodies end up being here, the more representation that they deserve. So I hope to put those folks in front of you. Congratulations to Chief Jenkins and Captain Taylor. I think that's just absolutely fantastic, especially the amount of years that those folks put into this organization. Congratulations to all the promotions that occurred. Was able to make it to most of those badge pinnings, and I got to give credit to Chief House and this team for the way that they're handling those badge pinnings. I think it's very well received from the membership. It's making it a very special event, and it's memorable for not only these individuals, but for their families. You can see it with their families for sure. the kids and stuff. Everybody is just ecstatic when that's happening in the place that you spend your time, in the firehouse where it should be. So, with that being said, I just want to say one of the long-term things that I will focus on, and maybe because it's been the thing that I've been handling a lot, is whatever we can do to navigate through and make work comp better. And it's not that work comp's bad, and it's not that we're not working together on it at all. I think everybody at this organization is doing absolutely everything they can for our memberships. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we don't have room for improvement. I think all of us need to look in the mirror at times, whether you're a company officer, whether you're a firefighter, is there room for improvement? There has to be. There always has to be an opportunity for us to do things better. And if Metro Fire can be the ones that are the leaders, like you've said, President Gould, if we can be the ones that are on the forefront and the ones that other agencies look at and go, and we want to get our agency to that point, then that's something we can do, because helping navigate folks through one of the most difficult times in their career, from what I've seen, is typically associated to some sort of injury. We love what we do, and the last thing that we want to do is have that taken away from us. And whether it's an insignificant injury or a catastrophic one, that we'll no longer be able to perform the duties of this job. All we want to do is get back in the firehouse. I want to get back in the firehouse. I'm not even hurt, so. But that's really what we want to do. So if we can make that process better, that is something that I will continue to do, and that I promise to the membership that I'll continue to do. And like I said, this team works very, very well. And when I say team, I'm not just referring to the local, I'm referring to Metro Fire in general. We work very closely with HR. We collaborate a lot. We make sure that we're on the same page, because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal. We all have the same goal. We do not always agree on how we get to that goal, and that's fine. That's a healthy relationship, and I think that's important. So without anything else, that's it. I'm contained. Thank you very much.
Questions for him? Hold on. I'm going to give you 15 seconds, because I think we have our viewership on these events is probably north of 1 million. So I think there's some people that may not know what Local 522 is about. And I don't know that as a board, we've done a good job recently about you got 15 seconds. Tell the population that watches these, what is Local 522, if you would, for me, please?
So Local 522 is an amalgamated union. That means that we don't just we're not just the representing body of Metro Fire, but the body that represents all of the fire agencies within the region, including some outside of Sacramento County. We've gotten into Placer County with Lincoln and South Placer most recently are the newest additions. The importance of Local 522 and being an amalgamated union is that we have strength in numbers. And many years ago, we decided to put everybody together so that we could be stronger. And I think that's important for folks to realize, is that this local is a very powerful union. And it's a very powerful union because we have to work together. And so we know what that is. We have to work with our partners in the city. We have to work with our partners in Folsom, West Sac, Cosumnes, airports, and our brothers and sisters that work in Placer County. We have to come to the table and make decisions that are the best for all of us. We don't just put our individual needs first. We work together.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Thank you. We'll move on. Appreciate it.
Welcome to the position.
Oh, thank you.
Interim. I think he said he had like 2 weeks or something. All right, let's move on to committee and delegate reports. The executive committee this afternoon met to continue the assignments to our board committees. We only made only one minor change, and that was to take Director Woods out of finance as a full-time and make him a backup member of that committee. And because he wasn't present, we decided to make Director Clark a member of that finance committee. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're not here, you got to be careful what happens to you. But and so if you've been serving on a committee of the board, just know that your assignment maintains itself. As most of you know, at the beginning of each year, we ask those subcommittees of the board to meet in their regularly scheduled meetings and to select who will chair and be the vice chair of those committees. So we'd ask for you to get that done and then let our board clerk know of the outcomes, because I think she'll be present at every single one of them. So that concludes that report. We'll move on now to Comm Center JPA. Chief Green.
Thank you, President Gould, Directors, Chief House, everyone here. Chris Green, Assistant Chief in the Operations Branch. We have not met since your last board meeting. Comm Center JPA meets again on January 23rd, and that's all I have unless you have any questions.
Questions? Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Ex officio Director Wood on the Finance and Audit Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Finance and Audit Committee has not met since our last meeting. The next Finance and Audit Committee will meet on January 25 at 5 o'clock in this room. Thank you.
Thank you for that report. Moving on to Director Costa on policy.
All right, thank you. Well, we haven't met yet this year. I think you did hear, we have quite a bit coming forward. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. Our next meeting is February 8th. However, I'd like to ask that now I think we have an open spot on the committee. So we do have an alternate spot, and I'd ask the board members to consider maybe serving on that committee.
You know that we do have two members not present. I say just go ahead.
We could just select one.
Just saying. Just saying. All right. Thank you for that report.
Thank you.
Anything else, John, on that
No,
one?
thank you.
Okay. Let's start with you then for board members' questions and comments. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to thank the men and women of this organization, especially what we got to hear tonight with the great work of the crew here. So thank you. And HR Maddox, or Manager Maddox, thank you for your report. I think it's great to just see the great work you guys are doing and really bring it to this board for our attention. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Director Rice?
Just want to say congratulations, and actually more thank you to Engine and Medic 50. I know I sat with you guys and was kind of teasing you a little bit, but your level of professionalism and the skill and the teamwork that was described to us and what you displayed just on a little bit of a chit chat that I had with you. I really appreciate each of you and the job that you do. Congratulations on the promotions. And I will say this about Terry Barnes. Cindy, thank you for doing this. I have a family obligation, but I may try to work something out with you. I will say this, when I started as an engineer in Rio Linda, there were two people that you need to make a positive impression on. And one was Wilma Dyer, who's since passed, and the other was Terry Barnes. And this is a long time coming. We will never see another Terry Barnes. So if you have not met this man, I would really tell you to try to make an effort in doing that. And what a long overdue honor. And my hat's off to Terry, and thank you, Cindy, for doing that.
Thank you, Director Rice. Director Clark?
Yes, welcome everybody to the new year. I'm really excited about the things that we're gonna do in Metro Fire this year. I'd like to see us follow up on a lot of some of our strategic plans as we should. I want to congratulate those that were promoted, and just continue doing the great work that we're doing. We're a fantastic organization, and we want to stay ahead of the curve and other agencies and be the model that that we are, to let the model for firefighting for all at-risk services that we do, and including our administrative services department. So that's all I have to say, Mr. Thank you.
Director Weber?
I'd just like to say congratulations to all the promotees as well. Thanks for all your reports first and foremost, but congratulations to all the promotions. Some of you were babies coming through when I was working. Mike Sloan was not. He was still much younger, but congratulations very much. One I have a very special interest in, so congratulations to you. You know who you are. I had an opportunity to meet with Chief House and Chief Bailey earlier this week, and touching on the subject of work comp. I was very, very pleased to hear that not only from the chiefs, but also from the line that keeps trickling in, the changes that we had made in 2023 are making such a huge and significant impact on the way that we are not only accepting or and treating our members, that it is so streamlined now. There is room for improvement, sure, but it is streamlined to the point now that our, not our successes are great. We're getting our people treated, and the criticisms and or failures, I guess they're trying to say is it's significant on both ends. And so I'm thankful for yourself, all of the officers and everybody that worked on this program throughout 23 and will continue to work on this to make sure our members are getting treated, but most importantly are treated with dignity and respect. So I think everybody and that's just one of many things that we have done in 2023. So I'd like to say thanks to the entire team, and that goes to yourself all the way down to the MMP. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Director Weber. Director Sailors.
Turn this on so people might hear me. Thank you to everyone out there who's doing such a professional and a great job. I want to have a shout out to Engine 111 and Truck 26 who saved me on Tuesday, January 9th. I got a call from the Parks and Recs workers who could not get their flag down. The rope was stuck up in the top, and they were like, "Hey, do you know anybody who might help us?" And I said, "I think I might." So I made a phone call to Engine 111 and I said, "Can you go guys take a look at this and think you might be able to do something?" And I drove over there and met them, and we looked there at their 70-foot tall flagpole. They called Truck 26, and took Truck 26 a while to get there because they caught a first aid call. But as soon as they cleared that, they came over, and Captain Manfredi, Engineer Carey, Firefighter Gross on 111 helped them set up Truck 26, who had Captain Phillips, Engineer Gregory, Firefighter Heflin, and I'm going to need your translator there. Firefighter Goregi. Anyway,
It's not a good sign when they
I
don't
know.
know what you're saying.
Anyway, they had that truck up so fast, so quick, and he went up there, and within a minute, he had the rope that was off the pulley and stuck in the side. They put a new rope in. It took them longer to set the truck up than to change out the rope. The Parks Department now has a new flag flying and a new rope on the flagpole. And it was a great day. So I just want to have that shout out to them for saving. And now they can fly the flag again. They can put it up, they can take it down, because we love our flags because they remind us of what we're doing out there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your presentations tonight. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. It's cold out there. And we'll see you Saturday, Station 116 at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sailors.
I have a question. Is that the one on Alberta?
Yes, at Alberta in the corner of Elwyn, or
Oh,
it
yeah.
changes its name to Rio Linda on the
I know
north
it
side.
well. I got lost out there.
Thank you, Director Sailor. Director Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll echo the comments made before me, with the exception of getting lost. But I got a few things. Like the chief said, we had a open house out at Station 26 last week, and it was, despite the weather, it was extremely well turned out by the community. And I just want to say thank you to the crews that were out there for their hospitality in their home. Before the end of the month, we also had a smoke detector blitz out in North Highlands at a mobile home community. And just want to say thank you to Engine 42 that was out there, all the work that CRRD did, and the Red Cross. That turned out to be a very successful event, with a lot of smoke detectors going into places that actually had none in some of these houses. I spent Christmas afternoon going around to some stations. So I want to thank the crews at 53, 54, 62, and 68 for their hospitality. By stroke of luck, they were all happened to be in-house when I got there. I didn't have to wait for anyone. But they were all extremely kind and welcoming on that day, and I appreciate all of their time. Lastly, just a reminder, fill the boots. We need to figure out a way we can get this trophy back, Chief. Friday, February 9th through Sunday, the 11th. They are looking for firefighter and civilian volunteers. We need people both out there in the streets, and we need civilians out there to help support them. So I used to always say, talk to Matt. I'm going to throw you out there, Sean. If any of our men and women need help or want to volunteer, I'm sure Sean can put you in touch with the Burn Institute. Valerie is the contact over there. If you guys know the Burn Institute, or you can look them up online and ask for Valerie. Get your name in, get out there, help out. We definitely need to make sure that organization stays strong, because they're there whenever one of our people needs them. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Director Wood, and thank you for all of the leadership that you take on with the Burn Institute. It's quite a thing to watch you do that. Really quickly, folks, I want to thank the retirees for all of the expertise and years of sacrifice that they made to make our organization what it is. And there is a young lady standing out there with an infant that I believe is the wife of the captain. Could she step in for just a second? Ma'am, thank you for your sacrifice, for your husband's success, because it could not happen without you. So thank you. And congratulations to the newborn as well. We heard tonight also that one of our members is now serving in even a higher calling, and that's defending that. And I feel terrible that I don't know how many of our men and women are doing that actively. I would ask that next time we gather, if whoever could find out for us, I think it's an important thing that we know who they are and that we seek them out. And maybe one night they could even give us a video of them telling us a little bit about that experience, because none of us would be able to do anything that we're doing here tonight if we didn't have a free country. And it's those men and women who go out and have a different level of service for us. And I feel ashamed that I don't know who they are. And so if we could just find out to report them in public, that'd be wonderful. We will end tonight's meeting before we go into closed session. And as some of you may know, if you've been around here longer than a week or two, that when I get the blessing to sit in this chair, one of the things that I recognize is that we ask so much of all of you, way more than we should, way more. And so I demand, if I can do it sitting in this seat, that you all go away while we go into closed session. Okay, you do not need to be here. You can't get in there. And when we come out, we can't say much. So I want you to go home or back to your stations or whatever you do while I sit in this seat. So I do not expect to see anyone except the people that are obligated by law to be here when we come back out. With that, I'd like to close this meeting, or adjourn it at least, with a moment of silence for those members of our community who have passed away and anyone else tonight who needs a moment of silence. This meeting stands adjourned. After a bio break. I believe that Council Lawver is going to report out our closed session items.
All right. Am I being heard?
Yes, you are, John. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Yes, the board met in closed session for conference with legal counsel regarding the government code section 910 claim filed by Rose Phillips with the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District. The board voted unanimously to give authority to the board clerk to return the claim of Ms. Phillips as untimely under the provisions of the California Government Code. And that's the end of my report.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lawver. Chief, do you have anything you want to say before we close up shop this evening? I'm sorry, I didn't see that. My bad.
Negative.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This meeting stands adjourned.